Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Lock Shop. Tell your friends about it. That'd be great. They, too, could subscribe to the Lock Shop podcast or subscribe to the Lock Shop's YouTube channel at Lock Shop Bets over on YouTube. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to give away $1,000 cash to one of those lucky individuals. If you want to bet it, you can bet it. If you want to use it to buy groceries, you can use it to buy groceries. You can do whatever you want with it. It's $1,000 cash. Hus, what's up, buddy?
Well, licking the wounds a little bit. Wasn't a great week. We managed to pack our terrible partner parlay picks all into one parlay. So hopefully we just got that out. I mean, it's been a very successful bet so far this season. It was not in week 14. And, I'll just say this as a PSA to everybody. That moment where you're going into the games and you're tinkering with your fantasy lineup and thinking about making a last minute change or changing that pick on your spreadsheet or your bet. It never works out, people. And this is a perfect example. As I often do, send you my picks for the best bets late at night. I originally submitted 4 selections, which included the Houston Texans plus 17.5. I woke up the next morning going, what am I doing? I cannot publicly back the Houston Texans on the Lock Shop tomorrow and change the pick to the Miami Dolphins. And there, folks, is the difference from another 3-1 week to a 2-2 week, which I can handle. But knowing that I had bet the Texans and they were originally in it, it made me that much more frustrated seeing the performance of the Dolphins last night in what was an eye-opener, I think, for a lot of people. Justin Herbert, man, he was taking a lot of shots this week.
Yeah, he looked good.
Tua didn't. I was stunned, actually, at that the way that game worked out. But don't change your picks, folks. Trust your gut. Go with what you originally put. It never works out.
You know what? And I should have. The only game I got wrong, I was 3-1 of my best bets. The one was the Cowboys and the Texans. And when you were originally on the Texans, I should have known I shouldn't be on the Cowboys because you've been so hot. I should have got away from that. The other game that I was looking at, actually, was the Seattle game. So I'm glad I didn't go there either because I would have lost that one. I was destined for a 3-1 week, I guess. But shout out to the Jets for covering. We were both on the Jets, so that was good news too.
That was an amazing, amazing turn of events for the backdoor cover. If anyone was watching that game, in the second half, the Jets into the fourth quarter were down 13. And having to cover the 10, it didn't seem like there was enough time to kick 2 field goals and a touchdown. They were basically in touchdown mode. And then we got bailed out by a safety from heaven that turned that game to an 11-point game. And then all of a sudden, the Jets got the ball back, kicked a field goal to make it 8 and technically keep them in a 1-score game. Obviously, it ended up. That was a really weird decision. I'm interested in what people think about that. 4th and 1 from the 6, late in the fourth quarter. And listen, we were pumped. Kick the damn field goal. Let's cover the number. I still think you're probably best off going for the touchdown there. I mean, are you going to have a better chance to score a touchdown than from the 6-yard line if you don't get it? Hey, it worked out for us. It was a nice cover. That was a lot of points, and that's why often if you're in doubt, just take the big number. Certainly this year, it's been coming in so far. But, man, Tennessee, can we just talk about Tennessee for a minute?
Oh, man.
Listen, it was nice. The Derrick Henry touchdown prop cashed in about the first 5 minutes of the game, and Henry had a big game, but I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars thumped them. 33 points they put up yesterday.
That was a stunner to me.
That was, I mean, when you think about the way Jacksonville got handled and has been getting handled on the road all year long, but, coming off that Detroit drubbing with question marks over Trevor Lawrence, pretty impressive matchup for Doug Peterson's squad.
Few chats in the YouTube comment section right now. Marshall's in there and says, I think it's Marshall, Martial. Is that a Winnipeg guy? Or is that an Edmonton guy? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, says KC. It must be because he's chirping KC. KC can't cover a spread like no other team.
Well, they covered yesterday.
They got it done yesterday.
Yeah, they got it done yesterday. Now, they did make it far more exciting than it ever should have been. I mean, that game was 27.
Well, what the spread was? What was the spread? What was the final in that game? Because wasn't the spread like Was it 9?
Oh,
8.5 when it closed? Yeah. No, they didn't. Yeah.
You know what? I forgot that they did. As you can tell that I didn't bet the Chiefs yesterday because I would have known that.
It was because there was 3 spreads that were a touchdown or more than a touchdown. The Eagles were the only one that covered. Dallas didn't cover. KC didn't cover. Yeah, it was 9.
That was ridiculous. They were up 27-0 in the second quarter.
I know.
And, listen, credit to the Bronco defense. They actually are good, although they look horrible for the first 20, 25 minutes of the game. One of their linebackers makes a great pick. They go down and score a touchdown. And then, it's a deflected ball on a pass Mahomes probably shouldn't have thrown. Patrick Surtain makes a great play. All of a sudden, it's 27-14. And then the Broncos, with Marlon Mack going 66 yards right out of the gate, and all of a sudden it's 27-21. And I'm thinking, like, wait a second. We were ready to just move on to the next week. And now all of a sudden we've got a game. Russ balled out there for a little bit. I'm not sure if you saw him get KO'd trying to be the hero going for the it was really eerie. I don't know whether they normally do this, but the CBS cameras shot up a right tight shot of Russ, absolutely knocked out on the ground. He had half the turf in his helmet. Anyways, nice win for the Chiefs, but often it seems like they just get in their own way right now. That could have been a complete embarrassment of the Broncos and ended up being a good game. Give a shout out to my buddy Evan, who had Jerry Jeudy part of his DraftKings stack, and I think ended up getting like 2,500 in the
nice
in the slant yesterday.
Very nice.
Yeah, really good one. So he was quite happy that the Chiefs opened the door for the Broncos to get back in the game. But yes, Marshall, my apologies. They didn't get it done against the spread. You
Chaz in the YouTube chat says that Boston Scott TD made the day a little less awful. That's true. How about Boston Scott coming through again?
Plus 550. What an absolute smashing.
That was nice.
Giants by the Philadelphia Eagles.
There's one more game I want to get to, but I want to bring in Pat Gregoire from Coolbet here to do this. And that would, just in case you guys want to work together to throw any more slander in the direction of the Detroit Lions for getting the job done. Jared Goff, back-to-back starts of the week on the Fantasy Football Extravaganza, and he does it again. Amazing.
Hey, listen, I gave credit off the hop. I said, let's now start saying that this is a good football team. I just stated that this was looking like a trap. So you're thinking it's a trap, but then you put yourself in a mental pretzel because you're like, it's such a trap that it's probably not a trap. So what do we do here? But yes, full credit to the Lions. Unbelievable game. Unbelievable season for that matter. Their O-line is great, making Jared Goff look like a Pro Bowler. The defense is vastly improved, and Minnesota is 100% on the shit list now. They're unbelievably fraudulent. They're 10-3, and they still have a -1 point differential. That is insane. How is that possible?
Well, and that's part of the reason why they were underdogs against the Lions. I'll say this. That game could have been more interesting if the refs didn't blow that call on the Justin Jefferson, what should have been a touchdown.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, and by the way, if you had Justin Jefferson in fantasy or DFS yesterday, you're pretty darn happy. But the funny thing is he didn't get into the end zone.
Yeah.
The touchdown scores in that game were bizarre.
Yeah, no Amon-Ra St. Brown, no Hawkinson, no Jefferson.
I mean, it was literally everybody else. But hey, the Lions are going to be a problem for everybody they're playing the rest of the season, and I'm happy for it. I mean, there was a lot of steam for them, Pat, if you'll remember coming out of Hard Knocks. I think a lot of people thought that this might be a team that could make the playoffs, and then next thing you know, they're 1-6 or 2-7? They're on a roll though right now. They're playing for their head coach, and I think there's some legitimate excitement about the future of the Lions for the first time in a long time, and got to tell you, the Rams sure would love to have Jared Goff right now because they are an absolute train wreck. Although I guess Baker Mayfield did come and save the day, so maybe things will be all good. They're not going anywhere anytime fast.
Well, Dusty, I mean, you can talk to it more being a Lions fan, but I don't know. I feel like at the start with Dan Campbell coming in, it was like, okay, yeah, this is a cool story. This is a guy that you like to root for. And then it came to a point where it's like, okay, you can only say so much in the press conference. You can only win the press conference so many times. You can only cry so many times when cutting a player. But I was always in the camp that this is a guy that's going to turn this thing around. Like, he is a player's coach, and these guys are battling for this guy. Now, I will say, Penei Sewell, obviously, that turned out to be an unbelievable pick. The memes that were going out yesterday about
his catch yesterday, that was amazing.
Yeah, like unbelievable.
Highlight of the entire Sunday.
So there you go. The Jamar Chase versus Penei Sewell. It's done. It's over.
Yeah,
that was the right pick. But no, in all seriousness, I'm happy for Lions fans. Long time suffering fan base. I know you're still not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh yeah, there's a long way to go.
You said, this is probably has to be the most optimistic you've felt about this group in many, many years, and for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, it was always just like, I hope Stafford and Megatron could do something great, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then it was a decade or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's been 30 years since we really had any success. So this looks like they're actually building something now, not just one or two guys, which is exciting. I just looked ahead, Lions and Jets. Right now, it's basically a pick 'em. I think the spread's 0.5 right now. So that's something we can discuss as we work our way through the week. Patty, what was the rest of your Sunday like yesterday?
Oh, it was great. Really, really well done on the props. Didn't love too much. Like when I came on the show Friday, I told you guys nothing really jumped out to me. A couple of my leans. The one lean that obviously didn't work out for us was the Vikings. But for the most part, pretty solid. The one heartbreaking beat that I had, Hus, and I'm gonna defect to you, man. Travis Kelce was the last leg of a 4 anytime touchdown score. CMC, which was just an absolute roller coaster after his first touchdown. It was called a touchdown. Then there was a flag. They picked up the flag, but then then they challenged the touchdown. Ended up being a tutty. So as we're waiting in the 4 p.m. window, it's usually 4 of my buddies. We each pick, one touchdown scorer, and we'll put a ticket. All of us will put one together. And the last one was Kelce. And we're like, okay, well, this is an automatic. Kelce just always scores touchdowns. Every time in the red zone, we're like, okay. In the group, we're like, all right, we're in Kelce territory. And then the touchdown just never came.
He got close. He got close a few times. That was the Jerick McKinnon game, who Dusty and I were mentioning, saved a lot of people's fantasy seasons. I'll say that. But yeah, that was unfortunate. Hey, Pat, what were your takeaways from the Sunday nighter? This is a game, I'll be honest, I thought Miami would go in and probably win going away, just with the direction the Chargers had been in. And listen, I'm a huge Herbert guy. I think he's one of the top young quarterbacks in the game, but he just hasn't had any help. The line's been decimated. Their defense has sucked. And yet here they are winning a huge game that will really help them kind of solidify a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what? Like Herbert, again, we've kind of just been waiting for some of these signature games or these signature moments, and I think last night was one of them. He looked unbelievable, and this is the guy that you've kind of expected to, and it's not because of him. It's because of the injuries around him, the O-line, whatever it may be, the defense not holding up their end of the bargain. But for me, and again, I am not a card holding member of Tuanon, and I'm glad I'm not after yesterday. I've been a big doubter, and let me tell you, I've been proven pretty wrong at the start of this season, but it's now starting to seem like teams are starting to figure out this offense. It seems even last night, the only time they scored were these big explosive plays, and that's really all that they have with Tyreek Hill. Like the one long bomb, the random fumble that he was able to just go, yoink, I'll take that, and then run the field. Like, they feel like they've maybe hit a little bit of a midseason lull right now. And I also think that defense is finally getting exposed, that they're not as good as they were playing at the start of the season. Again, this could be my Bills Mafia brain getting to me. And there's a big game next week, in Buffalo, which I'm interested to see that team play in some cold weather. Because they had heaters on the sideline at SoFi Stadium because the air conditioning was too cold. Like, are you kidding me? Wait,
7.5.
Park.
That game's at 7.5 here on a Monday too. So, yeah.
Well, again, I mean, 7.5. I probably take Miami. It's an interdivision game, despite how not great that offense looked yesterday, and just the fact that Buffalo doesn't matter if they're up by $1 billion in the first half. The play calling in the second half certainly has been head scratching. Last few weeks, though, have been Definitely strides for improvement, although great backdoor cover for you guys on that block punt. I was sweating for the win. I didn't care if they covered. I didn't have any money, so I was happy for you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I probably lean Miami, but then again, like in that weather, against
brutal
that Bills
schedule
defense.
week for the Dolphins.
So
Brutal
bad.
Yes,
schedule
it is.
week.
Saturday game.
They
Saturday
played
game.
the night game on the West Coast, and now that game has been flexed to Saturday in Buffalo.
And it's the third game of 3 games away from home. They were on the road before too, right? So, yeah, it's not ideal. And you know what? That sucked because I was on JD's coward parlay, and we needed the Dolphins plus 3.5. I was dying for a touchdown at the end there. That sucked. Yeah, that one stung a little bit.
I was on that one too.
Yeah,
I was on that one too.
That one hurt. Pat, what are you thinking tonight? Any leans tonight? Any plays already locked in tonight for the Pats and the Cardinals?
In terms of a lean of a side or a total, I can't get a read on really either of these teams. This game means a lot for the Patriots, but there hasn't been too much to really be inspired by this Patriots team in the last couple of weeks. On the flip side, I've said it multiple times on this program, and I'll say it again. Arizona, I have zero interest in betting on them. And they stink at home. They're brutal at home. I think they're 1-11 in their last 12 games at home against the spread, and they just can't win at home. So I'm probably staying away from a side. Although I'm not a believer in Kyler Murray. Historically, Bill Belichick has struggled against mobile quarterbacks. So I'd be definitely interested in betting his over, which I think is 36.5 right now, minus 130. So a bit juicy there, but I take his rushing over and maybe even anytime touchdown score, which I'm not too sure. Let me pull that up here. Good podcasting, Pat. Let's see here.
That's what podcasting is, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Plus 300. So I'd be interested in maybe sprinkling on that. But this game, I'll be honest, doesn't really get the juices going for me. But when that is said, it's prime time. It's a stand and load game. Over 3.5 field goals. You better believe I'll be doing that.
Yeah, well, listen, we're going to get to that. And I'll say this, and I'm not sure whether this is just how much that bet has been winning or the fact that both of these teams have a knack for kicking field goals. But that number has been normally anywhere from 120, plus 120, plus 125. It's been as high as plus 130. We saw it get down to plus 113. Pat, for the first time all year, there's a minus before the number for the over. It's minus 105 today for tonight's game. That being said, it's still on the card.
That must have changed now because it's back up to plus 110. So you're still getting you're getting a number, you're getting a plus number. So maybe someone must have hit that under, but which shame on you if you've done that. I'm going to see if the fellas might be able to do an alternate for this one again, because we did it last prime time. I think it was a Monday or a Thursday. We didn't get it, but I feel like this one could be an absolute field goal fest. So you're getting plus 110. And to mention that minus number, I won't say which competitor or a couple of competitors, but I was doing some line shopping yesterday, and by far Coolbet had the best price for that game last night. There was a few minuses when it came to the over 3.5 at some of the competitors. So definitely, if you're riding with us with the over field goal in prime time, of course, always go to Coolbet. We normally have, if not always, have the best number at. And if you're not, shame on you, because it is cashing at an unbelievable rate.
Got to be on it.
I don't know the exact record.
I'm gonna have to bet this twice now because I got in at minus 105. And now
he wants it at plus 110 too. Yeah.
It's all about the field goals tonight, and we'll get that. That we may have to drop that for the daily pick today in the lock shop when we put that out on the Coolbet socials a little later on.
I've got it here. Our VIP loyalty manager, Shane Gordon, texted me this morning. 24-17 this year, the field goals over. So definitely profitable if you're hammering that one. So
when it's been plus money every time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean,
it's been great. Yeah. No doubt about it. Patty, as always, buddy, great catching up, man.
All righty. Take care, fellas. Enjoy the game and go field goals.
Thanks, Pat. Go field goals.
go field goals. That's Pat Gregoire. That brings us into our picks. And look, I might be the fool here because going against Hus right now, is not a good decision. But I'm going to side with New England. I'm going to get on the under in this game. Hus, you're going with the Cards. What's the main reason here?
The main reason
don't say Cliff Kingsbury.
No, listen, it's definitely not Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, listen, I think part of it is that people are so down on Arizona, and justifiably so with what they've done so far this year. They still do have a ton of talent on that team. They're coming off the bye. Kyler Murray's healthy. Hopkins is there. And they're playing against a New England team that has been absolutely Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, they've had some strong games, but let's not forget getting blown out at home by the Bears on Monday Night Football a few weeks ago. I mean, to me, they've sort of overachieved, I think, with this offense, the way they're at right now. And the bottom line is, I think both of these defenses, I think the Cardinals are going to be able to score some points. And I think that the Cardinals defense will absolutely have things open for the New England Patriots to get things done. That's sort of why I'm leading to the over 43.5. I mean, if you go back, Arizona's consistently, I think they're 5 or 6 of their last games, 44 points or more in the total. Because listen, they can do good things offensively. They're just not particularly consistent, and their defense hasn't been very good. I just think that this is a real pick 'em on one side or the other. And when in doubt, in some of those times, I lean with the points and I lean with the home underdog. This isn't a real strong play. I think if I was just going on one, I would probably be looking at the total on this, because this is a huge game, as we mentioned, for New England. But I think in a lot of ways, for a lot of guys playing for jobs right now, we're going to see if there's any fight left in the Arizona Cardinals. And I kind of think that there will be tonight. I think they might catch the New England Patriots a little bit off guard. And I do think that extra week is going to really help them going into the game tonight. So we're going to look for a nice game for Kyler Murray. The over 35.5 rush yards is a pick. I do like that tonight when we're looking at props. I mean, listen, Kyler can basically do that in 2 runs. All it takes is him to get a little bit of an opening, buy a little bit of time, and he scampers for 15, for 17. And I think they're definitely going to need him to do that sort of thing if they're going to continue to move the football and give them a chance to put it into the end zone. So I'm jumping on the 35.5 rush yards. And as we've just talked with Pat Gregoire, quite pleased that shocking number I saw earlier today in bet has gone up to plus 110 for the over 3.5 field goal prop. I mean, if you just look at the totals, both of these teams have done plenty of field goal kicking so far this season, especially in the score fest that have been some of these Cardinals games. So I will be on that tonight. But yeah, it was a tough call, but I'm going to take the home dog. I'll take the 2 points. I'll take Arizona, and I'll be hoping for some points tonight over 43.5. Dusty, tell us why you're on the Pats.
Yeah, I mean, and not a super strong play here either. But Bill Belichick, you mentioned Cards coming in off a bye. Bill Belichick's coming in off playing last Thursday. So he's on 11 days rest here as well. He's coming off a loss. Cliff Kingsbury, first of all, at home, I don't know what it is about them. Kyler Murray's 1-10 in his last 11 at home, which is just insane. They're better on the road. Cliff Kingsbury in the second half of season so far has been an absolute train wreck, and we're officially in the second half right now. And listen to some of these. And this is, I think, my play on this one with the under and the Pats will be based on the New England Patriots defense. The New England Patriots defense can provide pressure better than almost anybody in the National Football League. And they play a lot of man defense, and they get pressure out of the man defense, which is just trouble for Kyler Murray, which is why I do like that Kyler Murray over yards. Listen to some of these numbers. I saw these over on the Action Network. Okay, here it is. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense is going up against a Patriots defense that generates pressure at the second highest rate in the league and the second highest rate of man coverage as well. Kyler Murray under pressure is 33 of 37 qualified passers, and against the blitz, he's 31st. He's been horrible throwing the ball under pressure, and against man coverage, I think their average pass attempts like 5.7 yards. Like the way they designed this offense. And to me, it's a horrible, and they have the weapons. You were right on the weapons, like Hopkins and Brown. I don't think Rondale Moore is playing tonight, but, you know, they have the weapons offensively. but the play calling is like bubble screen here, like all these short plays, which worked in college, but they have not worked in the National Football League. And I don't see how those types of plays are going to work against Bill Belichick, who's had 11 days to prep for this game with a really good defense. The one concern I do have, and you said it, I mean, the Cardinals D, I do worry about the Patriots generating offense in this game. But this, I'm going to go on the under here at 43.5 as well. The Cardinals have hit the over in 6 straight games. The Patriots have hit the under in 4 of their last 5. So these are two styles kind of contrasting here. The one good defense that the Cardinals played over that stretch, in which it's just been a steady diet of overs, was San Francisco, and they only scored 10 points. They just happened to give up 38. The other defenses they played, Minnesota, garbage defense. Seattle's defense has been trending in the wrong direction. They beat the Rams, who have a garbage defense as well, and then they just lost a tight one to the Chargers. So I think I'm going to side with the best unit and coach in this game, and that's the Patriots defense and Bill Belichick. And then just some player props. Stevenson over 5.5 catches tonight. Ramondre Stevenson has been so heavily involved in the pass game. I've mentioned this a couple times, Hus. He was my start of the week at the running back position, and I've probably doubled down on that right here. In the last 5 weeks, in the last 6 weeks, he's gone over 5.5 catches 5 of those times. 6, 9, 6, 3, 7, and 8. So it's not even like, because his rushing totals have come down. Like, he attempted 10 carries, 7 carries, 15, 16-ish, but they're getting him involved by the book through the air. So I like that. Stevenson over 5.5. And the Cardinals suck against tight ends. And the Patriots go out and give a decent amount of money to 2 tight ends, almost refuse to use them in the offense. They're targeted like 2-3 times a week. It makes no sense. But against the Cardinals, if you can't have a tight end get involved, you'll never have one of these guys get involved. So I'm going to go with Hunter Henry touchdown plus 275 tonight.
I love it. And I'm just looking. The Cards have gone over 44 or more points in their last 6 straight.
Yeah.
A few of those games, they've put up some, but they've always been giving up some. And listen, I can't believe you're coming on the Lock Shop and claiming that the New England Patriots have a coaching advantage over the Arizona Cardinals. I'll overlook that. Part of this is a bit of a hunch. They can't be as bad as they've been consistently at this time of year, at home.
I know.
And Monday Night Football is a good time to make up for many previous face plants, of which they've had many. So yeah, a little bit of a risky play. I'm going to roll with the Cardinals, but I do hope we get the points tonight. And most of all, I hope we get the field goals tonight.
We're getting the field goals.
4 of them, in fact, because when we're going to touch on that, I'm sure that will make an appearance in the Lock Shop play of the day a little later on in the Coolbet social channels.
I just imagine, like, we get that fourth quarter shot where Bill Belichick is stoic, standing there on the sideline, and on the other side, you've got Kyler Murray and Kingsbury just going at it. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what I imagine seeing tonight. And the game's like, I don't know, 20-12 at the time or something like that. Like, that's, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I got DeAndre Hopkins in a bunch of fantasy leagues. Like, I'd like to see him have a good night. I think he could have a good night, but I don't know. I'm going to side with Belichick here. 11 days to prep for this. And where's the other stat? I got to run this one by you. You'll love this one. Let me see if I can track it down. You know, all the Belichick stats after loss. Yeah, here's this one. This is a great stat. Since 2003, after a double-digit loss, Bill Belichick is 24-8-1 against the spread. 75%. Covering the spread after a double-digit loss. So, and this tonight it's Kingsbury. So, I don't know.
Every single one of these numbers points in the direction of the New England Patriots, and I laugh in the face of these numbers. And I'm backing the Cardinals tonight.
Well, but this is a guy who's on like a 65% clip or whatever it is this year. So, yeah, numbers be damned.
We'll see if it's dumb luck or what the story is tonight. But I am looking forward. It's a very interesting game. Primetime games in the Dome out west.
It is an interesting game, isn't it? Like it's the Cardinals. I usually don't care about the Patriots. The Cardinals are shit, but I'm kind of interested in this game tonight.
Well, let's face it. We got to get one more dub before the moving into next week, because it wasn't as good of a Sunday as we've had so far. Again, apologies for the partner parlay. That was a bit of a turd, but I am confident that we got the bad picks out all in 1 week, and we will be poised next week. Never mind next week, tomorrow, for a little fantasy football talk, as the playoffs are here and the playoff stretch is here in the National Football League. Going to be a real interesting week with, as we mentioned, 3 Saturday games, folks, in addition to a Thursday nighter. So stay with us on the Lock Shop all week long.
And we will talk to you then.